Voilà.
Lasso.
Tatarini ba shirojingo hatun lo tse temerota.
Sherakingo.
Lao.
That's all.
Timesun statni tatula ganar kromet kasi tsarota. Tali hatun gul hebarta. İnsan ni ba shiroj hat mu hatun lo tse sunse. Nasıl?
Lare. Sine Sherakingo yina.
Shini da kasi seni dinge zegoshi da sayba.
Lare that Niba Sherakingo Platon la Lopsu la Sum.
Lare nimaita.
River.
Tal hatun ide. Ne ta tele kalis na saji de rashishalwa. Kanra ga dami ten lambe bas. Chi dami ten lambe bas. Deli hatun to su hatun chisi. Tambula ni se kanra dami ten la wala chena ni ri ta. Na jani na jana ka tabi chunsi. Yeto jama tabi chunsi ni che. Ta na jana ka tabi chunsi se ka sa tambula gaja ngi binne. 초방에 비니 냄바지링에 비니 냄바드링에 비니 파사지 히첸 내지도 기술이 쓰고다 내지 대다 신이 템부시 두상사 신의 군의 신의 템부시 두상라네 너문건주 원군이 미지대 빌라지 싫어 단 너문건주 원군이 미지대 건네비 지대 빌라지 싫어지 나지 하통데 뭐였다 지르바 통화리다 Chirpala Guma Yuri, Shine took book of Yuri, Tamay Bachine, Satum, my behalf of Gugri Sari. The Tara Shini Tembushi to songs. Kusarman? Namungan Joa. Good navies, Jitebi Launch, Hirana Bashi, Satum so Maguba. Sachirpaina Jitebi Launch, Hirana Latini, Yena Gugure. They Hatum Jugu, Tatine, Hatuji Magua, Korea, Namulan never chigre, Jitebi Namula. Sidan jidebi namu nebo chidene debi namu pom something ngi to ni as ta nakade ina ki chami gi ngi to ni sese ba de ro yonder ta chizna ta da mai ba se ne jidebi na ji hira na ba je ta tun so mu ba sa chirba ke thumwa gi jidebi na ji hira na ba na so magu ba kare gungu sna rari ge rari ta de ne ja su ta ba yin bi se kui zawa ji ji dami ta Nala Chibi, Senjidin, Dibi, Haton Gungusa, Chigusa. That Naranso to Linsane, the Tanjazuka, the Tabatani Chambare, the Kui, they go out to Tabatobala, Kuisawa, Kuisawa, Chibashi, Damidla, and the Hirana Pentogo Mare, Karadami Gunguris, Tawaji, Dami, Nala Chibi, Senjidin, Dibi, Haton Chigusin, Haton Chiguris, one tap. That Hira Hatun, Hini Hatun said that Hini Katan Lucy Hisachi, Hatun Tekale, Suju Tobare. That Hinilla, Hinitam do, so that no one do it, you Tambo Sagiri. Then that Chirubagin, since Sujibaji, Rodi God, Jim Mugurita, the him Guachim. Ta Nabason Yibaga Damit until upon the Kuiza Jigistone, Hatun Guguris Mare. Tina that Kuiza Jigita kitchen, Dami Patentella Poga, Dami Tantilla Pola. Damis na ta lundele ta seni gijele lo dosile sensamba rajoba tenjo gosiyore sensamba le yan ne juba dochiba sensamba ni phashe ta den da mogo de tatuna ta tenji ndobare tenji ndoba shi gaitun atla karigursna ane satun hira najin hat mai bage ane jiden dibe na teni ladun to sadi karigungus dami gungus dami gumala dami tenshi gure dami tenshi bara karigungus na saje paje ne dele saje ije son ta ta kolha ta ta kolha ta la ta de mashian law yo maram kasna ne je hido ne je se ne je de dichi se sam kle ala ne na na ka ta bi tun su de tu jama ta bu tu ni shi na 나도 나게다 부스레 담이 때라미 발라 간사 담이 때라미 바시 담이 때라미 바지 간사 담이 데 라오마 템모 데데베니 실레 연드레 다시 담이 때라미 바데 되게 템모 많이 치를 자거래 되게 템모 많이 시지나 시 담이 것도 말이다 다들 가리스는 다네 네제시네 가장이 비네 차방이 비네 Demba chiri dembi chiri ngebingem. Dembi chiri ngebine yes lani chimun tarota. Tasen gaja ngebine se karisinan gaja ngebine gaja yo mare. Yo mare tinen gaja mine gaja yo nande yugrisin gaja yusi shid gata. Ta tuta kumage gaja dami dungu karisina tine tendige tala teni ne karisagro nugula sobata demichi dugu yare ani ya shila nasun shege zune tendige ta shila nasun shege demba mi de tendige bishirse tendige tala teni shila nasun demi dugu ta jinde kani shege ta shila nasun de je shire lama shire nasun se na patne na chere je ta na shi na ba na shensi de sun demba mi de tendige bishirse dugu yare ya ma 지 유튜브 자기네 누구 쳐지 대봐 누구 쳐지 대마메데 된디 비치레스네 나 가지만 때리기 딸이 님이 누구야 지다 드는 이산에 다 가장이 비니 처방이 비니 님이 지링이 비니 님이 드링이 비니스네 가장이 비니 뜻이래 지금 가장이 비니 지금 약간 가자 요 말때 가자 요는 요돈들 해야지 시거다 가자 요 말아 Raji tuba yo mare gaja so kaji thi yule raji tuba demba tuba ngu ni tuba raji tuba demba tuba ga chibare sa da me chida yam kata demba tu madu yo yo demba tu sa chache de gare tande le tenjo alu thi yule kanga madu ba chance raji madu ba ngu ni madu ba demba madu ba rangi ni madu ba ta ji sen ne ga chibare jeson sa de la pena nugu she demba mi de tendi bi shere tendi ki tali tendi tu juare se tusil teni tubada teni tubase tendi de jundi la den do de bat tendi shigore saza nog jina shigore tendi sa de jundi ki dola tendi shiasta ta jundi ki dola ta jundi sing dola ta ma teni tubase jane tudu ji ba tendi kaisa jog tan dibu ching udi joli dibu ching udi dibu la tendi jo jakore ani dibu tendi jo jakore jola tendi dibu cha dibu se jola tendi jol me cha ko dibu se logo ro 조싱이 미터라 가서 그 리부지 집안에서 콜 조싱이 그걸 뭐 해. 이거 말이야. 그래서 간갈에 뛰니 뛰니 봐. 뛰니 잡아 봐도 지금 그런 건 수트바 싸는 이거 말이 있으겠다. 요나 가서 랑게 또비 따다만 이거 랑은 두바지. 또비 따다만 이거 랑은 두바세. 또비 배따 바다 레마도 층은 두바지야 이거 말이야. 단도 되기는 가자 두지 시나 가르치는 랑제 버드게 런내면서 런내버 밀러지잖아. 런내밀어 하요 그 잡아 많이 봐. 이런 거 통은 내는 두바스 자겨래. 다트리 울라들 뭐 거지. 또비 따다만 이런 거 두바스. 또비 따바다 레마도 그런 거 두바야 말이지. 또비 배따바다 많이 봐 그런 거 두바지 요나? 아니 내가 두지 돼. 요 말이지 그래. 다 뭐 비시고 좀 좀.
나리.
이제 가장이 비네서는 가장 니는 가장이지 요 말은 가장 요 말어. 아니 요 말이. 요 말이 된 요는데 지어서 수시 그러다. 요시 가서 라네 또비 따다만 뭐 이런 거 두바세. 또비 배따바다 레마도 그런 거 두바야 말이지. 또비 배따바다 많이 봐 그런 따바다 많이 봐 그런 거 두바 저런 가자 요를 해서 요시 시기다. 맨날 그 요는데 요 그때 요 말이지. 대바지 저기다.
맞죠.
다 시중 무조라면 또 타부도 안 돼. 대선 노래대. 야 좀 대바지 손으로지. 가장이 있는데 야부 손으로지. 가장이 있네. 가자 이게 있네서 가장이 가장이지 요 말은 가자 요 말에. 랑은 요 말어. 요 말에 때 가자 요는 요신이다 지요 요시 시키는 거다. 내가 요는 요신데 시리. 내가 요시 안 되는데 요 말에서. 요는 내가 지요 그런데 요 말에서 하지기. 그 요시디 시네. 나서.
Okay. Continuing from where we left off the last time, what we had done in the text was to go up through the teachings about Shamatha, and so here we're being introduced, what we started on last week was just the first introduction to Vipassana. So Shamatha is the meditative practice where we learn to sort of get control over our mental processes. in such a way that we can focus undistractedly for as long as we like on a single object. And in this way, the mind becomes unburdened by all of the ordinary thoughts and impulses and so forth. And all of the obsessions that we have with the things of the ordinary world fall away, because we find this state of bliss, really, mental and physical bliss, through this gaining full control over the mind. Now, from the point of view of the sort of looking at it from the outside, so we say the cosmological view of it is that there are three realms: the desire realm, the form, and the formless realm. And through training yourself in the practice of an attainment of shamatha, you can arise above the lower of the three realms, the desire realm. You see the unsuitability of all the objects of worldly desire, and you get to the form realm, where you're free of all of that, and you abide in a very sort of blissful, clear state. And if you continue on this path of holding to your meditative concentration of shamatha, then you gradually ascend to the formless realm, all the way up to the peak of the formless realm, which is taken as the attainment of liberation by the Tirthikas, or the non-Buddhist schools. And the problem here is that this whole process of cultivating shamatha and using it to rise up through the levels of the ordinary worlds to the sort of heavenly worlds of the form and formless, this is all based upon our understanding that we want to free ourselves from all of the difficulties and problems and so forth, and limitations of the ordinary world. So it's really what we say is ego-based. That is, we want something for ourselves. We want to attain a better state. And so we force ourselves to enter into these meditative concentrations. We forego all of the sort of sensual pleasures of the ordinary world, and then we succeed in rising up above the ordinary world, all the way up eventually, if we stick to it, to the peak of cyclic existence, the highest point of the formless realm. And but this has all been motivated by the wish for happiness or even liberation for oneself. But one does not attain liberation this way. Why is that? It's because liberation, as the Lord Buddha has taught us, means to free ourselves from this delusion of a truly existent self. So even at the peak of cyclic existence, we brought with us this sort of, you could say, self-centered desire to experience complete peace and happiness. So we're still tied to that ego, or that sense of self, that holding on to this delusion of a truly existent self. And so long as we're tied to that, then we're still in the samsara. And the process of shamatha itself does not touch this fundamental delusion of a truly existent self. It does nothing to destroy it. It merely refines it, that we want a self which is very, or you could say completely peaceful and clear and in the best possible condition. And the best condition that's possible in the samsara is the formless realm, all the way up to its pinnacle of the that state of complete peace, but it's still peace within the world, within the samsara, although it has far transcended the ordinary world of the senses and even the world of embodiment, of having a body. So, the teaching that's given about this is that the efforts to attain this high state formless realm. We're getting some noise on the mic.
Yes, someone has to mute their phone, please. We're getting background noise.
Okay, so this is a problem, and that just Shamatha is not going to bring about liberation. And therefore, the Buddha taught that we should cultivate Shamatha in order to gain the meditative power, and then use that meditative power to train the mind in what's called the essence of wisdom, or the Sanskrit word here is Vipassana. And it's Vipassana that actually removes and gets rid of that fundamental delusion of a truly existent self, which is called the root of cyclic existence, the cause of cyclic existence, the holding to the idea or the concept of the delusion of a truly existent self. Only way you can get rid of that is through Vipassana, through this analytical process of Vipassana. And the only way you can succeed in this analytical process of Vipassana is once one has the fully focused mind of Shamatha. So the Buddha taught that once we develop Shamatha, instead of just continuing on and refining it more and more so as to go up through the form and formless realms, instead of doing that, we shouldn't be saying we shouldn't waste our time on that. We shouldn't waste eons of time with the sort of blissful self-satisfaction of the form and formless realms that are really self-delusion, because we're still within the samsara. He says instead, as soon as you can develop shamatha, then start to develop vipassana, the analytical wisdom, which can then actually cut off the root of cyclic existence, such that you attain true liberation. So the point there is that the excellent use, or the proper use, of the precious human life is to gain liberation, and not just to have the sort of self-satisfaction of these higher and higher states within the samsara. So that's why you have the insistence by the Buddha on the three aspects of the path, having the moral basis, the development of the altruistic mind of the bodhicitta, and then the essence of wisdom, the wisdom which realizes the lack of a truly existent self, or you could say the emptiness of the self. That is the point of the human life, and that is the point of practicing the Dharma, because through cultivating those three aspects, the morality, which is associated with what we call renunciation, it's the training ourselves in letting go of all of the worldly motivations and worldly desires and so forth, and then the bodhicitta, and then the wisdom. So with those three, we can attain liberation. Without those three, we cannot. So having cultivated the shamatha, then we can focus on this process of cultivating the wisdom which will actually free us from the samsara. So this teaching on Vipassana has three divisions, or subheadings, you could call them. The first is the process of coming to understand the emptiness of the self of persons. And the second is learning or realizing the emptiness of the self of phenomena. And then the third division here is the method for developing shamatha, how we actually develop the shamatha, which will first free us from the delusion of a truly existent self, then will free us from the delusion of truly existent phenomena. And by doing that, then we attain the full state of liberation. And then when we look at the first of these, coming to realize the emptiness of the concept of a truly existent self, here, this is called these are the two aspects of meditating on emptiness, the emptiness of the self and the emptiness of phenomena. So with both of these, you have two aspects of meditation. One is the meditative session. And in the meditation session, the emptiness that you realize is said to be like vast empty space. So empty space is a metaphor for this state of meditation. Then when you arise out of your meditative session, and before you enter into the next meditative session, then you develop the ability to see all things as being like an illusion. So here, an illusion, like a mirage or magician's illusion, is the metaphor for how we see everything when we go about our business outside of the meditative state, how we see all things, that they don't truly exist, that they are like an illusion. So then of these first two, the first is developing this meditative state in which we realize things, everything is a light, empty space, or we experience everything as if it was like empty space. So in order to do that, there are four principles that we develop in this meditation, or four aspects of this meditation, you could say. The first is that we must understand what's called the object of refutation. Because when we say we're meditating on emptiness, we have to know what is empty. what is to be refuted. Realizing emptiness is to refute the existence of something. What is that something that we're refuting? Then the second one is to look at all of the different possibilities. And this helps us to actually refute that object of refutation. And then the third is seeing how, in terms of understanding the lack of the true existence of a self, we see how what's called the self, or the so-called self, and its aggregates, that is, its components, things that we rely upon to imagine the existence of the self, how those aggregates and the self cannot be the same. And then the last one is how the self and those aggregates cannot really be different. So those are the four things that we go through in the analytical meditation, the Vipassana, when it's focused on coming to realize the lack of true existence of the self. So here we should understand that this practice of Vipassana is understood differently by different people. So there are those who use an analytical process like Vipassana in order to attain the states of form and formless realms. So these are people who will use their meditative focus of shamatha and then engage in some sort of an analytical process to what's called suppress all of the afflictive mental states that keep you from rising higher and higher in this, really in these higher levels of the samsara, the form and formless realm. In order to rise up into those higher levels, you have to get rid of your sort of coarse, worldly concepts and impulses and desires. So to get rid of them, some people use their shamatha to suppress those things. And that this would be like when you use the different antidotes, like the antidote for desire, or anger, or envy or jealousy. There are certain antidotes for those that rely on an analytical
has left the conference.
And the analytical process, like for just objects of desire, is to see their faults. And so you're doing some analysis there, but it's just to suppress these afflictive mental states that keep you in the lower part of the samsara, in the desire realm. And so then the problem is, of course, that simply suppressing these types of afflictive mental states does not really get rid of them, so long as their root is still untouched. So what's the root of all of the afflictive mental states? That is the holding to the delusion of a truly existent self. So long as you have that in there, then just suppressing all the afflictive mental states, the greed, anger, ignorance, and so forth, does not get rid of their root, the belief in the truly existent self. So that is why the Buddha teaches that the proper practice of Vipassana is the one which roots out the delusion of a truly existent self, the root of cyclic existence. And only when you do that do you leave the samsara behind and attain the true state of liberation. That's all, yes.
So da hina sun nanda nugu chis dema mete ne ti toma kanu to madu bishirisi ti toma kanu to madu na dema mi chawas chawa de tingi da chawa nge bala tensi khorang nge gure tensi kare ti to toma kanu to madu ba ko shayana dema ru ba ti to madu ba dema ru ba toma madu ba da te chi na nugu chis dema ti to madu te chachi yin bichis ko chachi rendo ko yitu gudo yitu se su chachi igure ni chi mare se chachi se de chani gure yita ni gure ma to chi chani yo mare chi khebe shere ne ba ga do ana to ma lu te chi khebe ja chi me du ne ba tu chi me na to ma ka ma yo mo shi ka ma chi me ba to ma yo mare to ma shi ne ni gure se ni shi gure ma to ni me shi to ma sa ga ma chi sha ga le chi khin na to ma mo ma chi to ma lu te chachi yin biche se Don't want the chicken be shared, steam and doors and about Gaguda. They will do the children of Nesad. That touch the Vacade, and then Tomaco Marubi Tachi, you got up the Demito Sona and to below the Yakone. That will be sure again. Changing it on to send the chicken and just soon sat him. Reach the tower to this one. That thing you could the Carson. Yeah, the casa. Oh, how you had to go to the church? Then be gentle up. Something is your motto, do you meet it such in the Sibata do but yes. Help you to Bali. How you had it? Church, then be gentle was so strongly church, then by Jesus to kill up. Something is your motto, do you meet it such in the me city Italian to Sibata do but good. Big Cadina Kotama Matuna Sibal Maduna Kagu. Because me see that in a Sibal doing Tapaton with this one. Just one by us, yeah? Tell us some of the money, tell like pig goose, then you tell like big goodies. Then Madonna Tabatoba told me. To name Madonna Tapato to your maris. You see Juba Yenda, Sensen, Jimata, you see Juba Yenda, he Hasson, Transition to there, Sensen, the Denzel good, Peto Maris at them. The woman Matona. Chenmo dans Chibando, Chenmo de Dzindu Gompa, Dzindu this man could Pentasa, how to have Petukma. Chenmo de Chibandosa. Pena Garisna, Jadi Nakal Piola, Shubani Grima, Shubaji Mina, the Tukumado Atenoy, Shuba Suda Medebi Chajensa, Shubani Miki Chadino Yin. Shuri J. San Germany. Jadi Shubaji Miki Nakal Pominiano. And Sony, the he to the Sona Suni, soon degree Madiba, Toy Tansu Sena, Hero to Maningi, Yamadio, Noduji Gurimato, Gisan, the Jig Tabas to Maris. Then you get a Jelamin, the soon was. Nilu to be Shiro Medena, Nimu Jansela, Conchesang. Sibis our Chuba Minipi, they tended to be taller base. You don't need with the social reason. Nilu to be Shiro Medeki Medla. Nimu Jansela, Nimu Jansela, so but Kasi Konayam. Sibis our Chuba Minipi, Siva, our Kis, our Chuba Minipi, Kis, our Maribari, Chuba Minip. They tended to be taller by teacher lesson. Tended to be taller by visit issues. Tisumba da resmuta. Já tu mani tela. Tu mani se que tem de que tem toda tem tu me dá chugi na. Hatang be tachi burisman. Karesna. Já tu mani tem de tu mani tela. Tanju que tu sa já. Tu mani se que creina. Tisun sa já hibu que tachi bushagosam. Tisun la tanju tisun tamanju que tisun. Chane tisun tisun yoro. Sida tanju tisun jero jinayam. Dans Shubu Chubanjo, Yen Tumbani, Tumbani last, Tisun Subi Chansa, Tisun Sana, dans Shubu Chuba, Tabos, dans Shubu Tabutan, dans Shubu City to Low Shabashano again, dans the Atana Mibachan Cop, Kanchinam, pema to so to gre dan le shubu ta ba sa pena si zhong bi sira zo she bu dan tu de me do gan de nyo ji ya phe to ma la dan ri si zhong bi lu tu yin to xie ba song de li ja ba li so na chung gun de la ne zhong sa ya ya me jo zhong sa wa zhong ji zhong xie ba shubu che ba jo yi ja ba ge so me pa pa la ge so na chung gun de la ne so na chung wa zhe ge去东宁的了，提出啥样嘛就提出国家啥都嘛的说，提出谁把人打提出啥了，这个提出啥把东西东宁来干的现在东西些些个多早去买着干的是提出啥把东西，谁把手不接吧就，谁把手不接的，可以个的呢，那么刚可以找那么刚了手不着现在偏嘛都下入出来个的有的是，本来走路本来人就现在偏嘛都下个了，在那里，提出啥吧，没就是提出谁把东西呢，谁把手不接完的。谁把手不接吧就是可以直接就能够手不接呢偏嘛都如这个也是黑松把这啥的那的了嘛错了你个不是这错了那个的让我那个错啥错的种几个错了你个个松所以说呢前期马路把前面错跟他是别个啥所以说前期马路多把了前期马路把新年给后边哪个他妈去自呢这哪个那个松的这那个啥所以说呢前期马路把前面基本当不了定所以说前期马路把신경이 집어 담바지 힘이 된 네 된이세 돈이 된지 담바도 돈이 된지 나가 야고 아주 튀그래서 다 대투서는 저 손이 다 돈이 돼 또비 더 네스나 소리 희소 저 손이 있대 소소리잖아 제바 소소리 소소바 디바장 지 그래서 소소 디바장 그래서 대당 마세 빌라마 예당 이미도 집임 라게 된 빌라마 예당 라게 된 비숨 예당 Lama yana imi to chini suwa toba suwa toni suwa toba su tawa nada jila chi jo jusu na tsangkas ten tawa nada jila chi wala tene dama luwa tobe tawa nada jila chi wala ne jo suni suni jusu na tsang gugri suni chi wala jo tene su gugri ma to teka jo su kia yo mari suni tsang gugri sa teda masana to mi nir sa teda masana tuni kawa to ni mari suni pe na payu tu ta mawa kipo san pa jaga pabi yu tu ta mawa xe chungare 가르사 엄마바 센타바 되네 너다바 네 지라모서 저 지중에 제가 바이지로 담아가게 소소님 따원조 산나시지 메타바 따원조 산리야 나시지로 산 메타면 뭐 이래서 담아가게 그래 여러 지라모하기네 따와서 요 말이 너다바에 지려다 지라모 따와지 여기 되네 그 그런 게 있는데 본시전도 건조도 나 따왔으니 그나도 뭐 건조 대발이 빼나 지라모가 가는 되겠으나 본시전도 건조도 본반 날에 출루가 좀 아니 본시전도 건조도 스트레치 시범을 희거다 지라모가 건조 되는데 벌써 스나텔을 먼저 본시전도 건조도 되어서 건조 센터 가르스나 빼나 본반 날 자셔도 본바스 미토가 찍으러 파시가 나 보면 미토가 뭐라 뭔가 연락가 파시가 그 부활이 쓰고 뭐라 진짜 되는 게 들려 가서 그래 본시에도 그 다 되는 진짜 단 놀루 쉬래 근데 뭐 파시는 놓쳐야 되고 뭐라 그것도 다시 샤가시라 하고 돈한테 무슨 그것도 뭐 시바네 시거 나시 메테 뭐야서 소네 엄마 튼지 있다와데 소 엄마 튼지 있다와래 소 되네 뚱바니 되네 뚱바니 되네 뚱바 땡주거든 뚱바 땡주거든 땡주 뚱비 돈도 시바히라 제사 뚱바 땡주거든 네 땡주 뚱비 돈도 시바히라 제거래스 뚱바 땡주거든 시아가서 내가 말이 뚱바데 땡주거든 그래서네 땡주라 때네 뚱바 중아래 땡주거든 시가래 무지바래 노바지 차가 말해 땡주 뚱비도 땡주 스네 뚱비 돈도 시아래 뚱바 때네 땡주 중아래스 대시거래 땡주 뚱비 돈도 시바히라 제사 땡바 투지jen체 니지 루이 초메jem 땡바 투지jen 시다 도박에 니자가 루이 초메jel로 니자가 롱래 가힐로 메바이랑 가힐로 니랑 가힐로 초메지 롱어 되네 로 어버론리 타송래 뛰데 진바진 데다서 가자게 다라 셴반도 비시도 가자게 다 요바 셴반도 비시도 당보 가자 라자 투비지 동바 당보 가자 라자 투비지 동바 땡바데 지라마 가자 라자 투비지 동바 땡아리스 Teni deli tisi tiada lo shimo deli rodo chobana chunali demba yemiji cheba chewada teni demba yemiji cheba ne ane demba yemiji chene ga hi demba maru ga hi demba tuwas te senza bare garesna toda demo madubarese jonde undu demo madubarese ne chichada teni lo chodo jobana tri ya dasna demo me chasa raje tubade ni ya de demo yo ma din raje tuba yorse raje banani ni jibe raje bada uma be raje bani yor ni jibe raje ba sigre demo me cha raje tuba tembase teni lo chodo jobana demo me cha raje tuba temba demo yo ma raje tuba yorese raje bare ya rola sa no obo rola pa obo zhen da le suna chao rola chu tang ji rang ji mi ba de ba chu rang ji yo ma le de ba yo ma chu yo ma chu mi ba tang de sa ta de chen jo da wa zhong de rang ji mi ba de bi na sa zhou lian de ji gu bi ta tu chu de ji ba chen ma de ya ta zhong de ji gu ba ta tu ba chu ma chen ma de le sun de ma ru ba rang ji ma ru ba de le sun ta tu chu de ji ba ne chen ma de yin la sa de yang de ba ni ji sa so zhou lian ni rong song shan duo sa so so be de yu de ne sa gilu ba de chi la ba demi lushin bada yoda mi bi chun jibam hisu shi yotada mita pambi ji gumban diwa lontemba dibala sen denda da diwa lontembi ngobulu yisho ji santoni tawa chi guchi sta sonje chonen dig lonten to bi ten ngobulu ligi sho ten sabi tawa di sin ji gurese nu ka baten des nan des ten tembi so chun jambi sa ji isa yo so chun beta yutone gimu baden chiraba jambi saji no sa gyonde numendu te jambi saji numendu sa chon taru de che ha ko greda gobulu li sho sho ji nan tsi guche de me so so kan de je sa de chi bi tawa so so mo ma bo ma ya lu li gumba ta ma ta na gumba ta ta na tawa tatu yin sa deli jen du na gumba ta ma ta na de yu gumba li lo ba shi ji gumba le lo ba shi to ne ba ni sa chi to ne de le ji ma lu li ta so ta le so le ta ma de yu gumba le shen lu jo ge ri so ma de lu li de ko kan le sin na so ji to ne lu de tu de do gumba lu de so ju be ta yu de gi mu pa de chi da ba de me lu shin be ba de lu sa si gris yo ta mi bi chun ji ba yo ta mi la ni ga lin ji ni shi sa yo ta da mi ta pa bi ji gumba de wa dentro del tío algo tempi gobo lui shoji se lu ji san rani tawa ji gu ji tawa ji shu su de ma yin ba so so kan de de je sa de ji bi se re ji na tawa so so mo mo pa ya tawa so mo hi bi se ma la ya lu li ju gumba da thana tawa ta tu lu gumba thana tawa ta lu re de li je lu gumba ma thamba de li je de chuna ni de gumba le lo ba hi ki de me ba re sa la de li lo su jo ma ne je gumba son jo ni gumba le lo ba hi cha re ma to 차요 말이 소리 고불루리 관시 받대 로 타디레스 로바시도 해봐 니사다 니드레스 그러나 베줄랑보다 답변 하러 봐 교무주 베줄랑보다 다지 베줄랑보다 다지 변에 누구 맞을로 많이 뭐 좋아요 되게 따지면서 변나 자가지 기바 별로 체히 땀마시 자가지 기바 첨부 소변 리네지 로변 리네지 라제비 두두비 라제바레 오마 비난이 두두비 라제바레 베지 벤시 전화바 소마보 따이네 들리 취히사 대 자가지 벤치 다 기바 로변 리네지 따인들 취네 라제바 수송아리 베지 벤시 부노 주 마지 하마 전화바 소마보 따안디 따이네 들라세 취신 따이네 들 취네 들리 셴바 가히기선 인데 추아리 소네 들리 셴바 가히기 루루지 선라자스 고불루지 선라나양 지선 라나요? 디 구멍만 또 봐. 지선 라자스 디 구멍만 또 봤다. 디 구멍 또 요마르스. 가시기는 루이 지선 나와 마세. 루이 지선 나와 마세 봐. tellang gabachi ba su tang chung yu sun tella gabachi lulu gi jisam na ma ma ba ya lulu la gabachi ya chung yu re sun le pena lulu yu si lu la meti ba ngobu lulu yu si bu sa pa ngobu lulu ta yan do andire lu la meti ba teli chiri du jibi razo ta wa tang ba re teli chiri ba teli chiri du chen lo si razo ga razo son son de chiri du jibi razo ta wa tang ba ne razo ta wa tang he chung re se pe le Tarisan Daisa. Lulu Yosi Lula Metipa. Dili Chiridu Chibi, Rosi, Tawa Tambane, Daisa. Soben the daughter was Susan was. Soben Lulu Soji. Laline, Chirilla, she told me to. The dog no do in a daily now. Daily now, but how about you me? Soben the Omanjuba City. Soben Lulu Soji, Soben Lulu Tenshi will not tell you. Chiridu Jabane. She told me Tabala Shaw, Tonshima to be told your Marius. Shaw Taba to be told me, that is Jana. The dog no do in a daily son. The lolly she because on Kozu de Bato, not never any now, sir. She said, that is an the not never jaw the Kozu in our Kozu never denotion. Kozu must have done not to Kozu must disagree. The niche is not never how the Kozu Jamut was. Kozu never hear with the Nana. She's not the legate, the dog Kozu in a daily now, sir. Did not but Taban do you miss? Did he now? The nigger in a bed, Taban do you miss? Taban do you mean? Do you have Maris or Taban do you on your he soon be say? She go never here and Amato, Timmy, Lundi, Jason Amateur. She just she go never soon you she go never here and Amato, she go chin and it. That delay tells out your Maris matter. She go never here and Amato, Timmy, Lundi, Jason Manawa. Chateau me to son. Tabelu is Manawa, Chateau your Maris Mori. Time over here, some about this. That do cheat. She go never here and Amato. The Maya Balundi, Jisamana, Chateau Meadows, and Gulu Jisamana, Chateau, your Maris, and Tatuatla, as a usual question.
Okay.
Then I wish we hit as my hit on she does that.
Okay, so much to say here about this because in order to develop this wisdom which realizes the emptiness of the personal self and the emptiness of phenomena, then you use this vipassana, this analytical meditation, combined with your shamatha, your perfect meditative focus, and with them together you can cut the root of cyclic existence and attain liberation. And then it's text says that even Mara just can do nothing about it. He looks at you meditating and shakes his head and says, "Nothing I can do." That's the idea that Mara is you could say the symbol or personification of the samsara itself. You are lost to samsara means you can't attain the state of liberation, but that's only through the practice of vipassana combined with the shamatha. So that's because this is the way in which we realize this profound emptiness, the shunyata, and the realization of that, the full realization of that, bestows liberation. If you don't have the full realization of emptiness, then you remain within the samsara. And that is to say, if in any way, no matter how subtle, you still hold to the true existence of a self, of persons or of phenomena, then you're still within the samsara. You haven't attained liberation. And so this is extremely important as we set out to practice the Buddha's teaching, and we understand this sublime ideal of the bodhisattva, the bodhisattva's way, and we wish to cultivate it. We wish to act like a bodhisattva, and in fact be a bodhisattva. We should understand that the deeds of the bodhisattva, if they are not based upon the wisdom which realizes emptiness, then they remain attached to the idea of a self. and that means there's still that dualistic thing of self and other, and the deeds of a bodhisattva can never be perfected so long as you're still holding to a self of persons and the phenomena. So, therefore, the path taught by the Buddha is one which combines two things. They're often called method and wisdom. The method is the great compassion of the bodhisattva, seeking to benefit and liberate all living beings. And then the wisdom is the wisdom which realizes the emptiness. And so these are said to be like the two wings of a bird. If you think of a bird flying, well, the bird needs the two wings. A bird with only one wing is not going to be flying. And likewise, the follower of the Buddha, who has only the compassion but not the wisdom, will not be able to fly to the state of liberation. So this is why the J. Rinpoche Tsongkhapa says in his text on the three principles of the path, he says that even though you have properly cultivated renunciation and turned away from the things of the world, focusing only on liberation, even though you have that's called renunciation, and even though you have cultivated the bodhicitta for the sake of all beings, you cannot, just with those two things, ever eliminate the root of cyclic existence. So you still remain far from liberation until you cultivate the wisdom which realizes what he calls the way things actually are. In other words, realize the ultimate truth of emptiness. Only then, in combination with the renunciation and the bodhicitta, will you attain full liberation. And therefore, Tsongkhapa concludes, it is necessary for us to make great effort to fully realize the meaning of dependent arising. What is the meaning of dependent arising? Ultimately, it is profound emptiness. So, yeah, I explain that more later, but so the text says how this understanding or realization of emptiness is what removes the root of cyclic existence and brings about liberation. And so as we come to understand something about what is meant by shunyata, of emptiness, we have to overcome all of our doubts about it, because we have from beginningless time clung in one way or another to the existence of a self. And so we have doubts about it when we hear that the self of persons, the self of phenomena, do not truly exist. But even though you have doubts, if you have some real understanding of emptiness, you can come to that point, then you will destroy the roots of the samsara. Because once you start to understand shunyata, then even though you have some doubts, you will continue, you'll persevere until you have fully removed all those doubts and attain liberation. So now, how do you realize emptiness? Well, first of all, there are some what would you call prerequisites for that. You need to establish the basis for realizing it. So this involves several things, such as the finding and devoting yourself to a fully qualified spiritual teacher, a lama, who's fully qualified by having realized the nature of phenomena. In other words, has meditated on emptiness and attained a state of wisdom with regard to that. So he's said to be a sublime being, or in Sanskrit, an Arya. So you must find such a person and devote yourself to following them. And so this person, this spiritual teacher, is qualified by understanding what's called the basic teachings of the sutras and the shastras, having understood the main points, though. And then from such a person, you have to obtain the instructions on how to cultivate this Vipassana, in other words, how to meditate on emptiness. Then a further requisite here is the accumulation of merit. You cannot go through this process without collecting a significant amount of merit. You cannot succeed at it further without purifying your mind, getting rid of all of these coarse obscurations or associated with the afflictive mental states. You have to get those under control. And then further, there is the use of the special techniques of the Tantra, wherein you look upon your lama, your qualified lama, as the yidam, that is, as the Tantric deity, or the way it's put usually as being inseparable from, or undifferentiated from the yidam, and all that involves. So if you don't establish these first steps, these requisites, then succeeding at the meditation on emptiness and fully realizing emptiness is really not feasible. So you should really devote yourself to doing those things. So understanding that, then we go on to the next part, which is what is this teaching which the Buddha has given us, which allows us to realize emptiness. So in his teaching, the Lord Buddha was going about teaching various disciples over a period of 51 years. He was teaching disciples. Now, he taught according to the dispositions of the disciples. You could say their sort of cognitive ability, their ability to understand. No use teaching people something that they can't understand. So he taught in different ways to different disciples. So to those who had no idea of these concepts, like the lack of true existence of the self, he started out by teaching them to distinguish between what's called the self and the components of that self, the aggregates, the form and the feelings and so forth, and to show them how well the what we call the self in our conventional vocabulary is really made up of components, and these components are called the five aggregates. And so the self doesn't exist without those aggregates, but it is not the aggregates. It's not any one of the five aggregates, and so on. So we'll get more into that later. But that's the first level, to say the self is not independent or does not exist apart from the aggregates. So here we have the first level of teaching. And this is associated with what's called the school of the Vaibhashikas in India. They're sort of naive realists. So though they come to believe that the self doesn't exist as a thing, it's not findable under analysis, they still think that the aggregates truly exist. But that's okay. That's the first step, to go away from thinking that the self exists as some sort of an entity. So then, after coming to an understanding of that, then the next level, or you could say what the Buddha taught to those who had understood that, to get them to a higher level of understanding, he taught what comes to be known as the school of the Sautrantikas. And the Sautrantika school is where he teaches that all of these things, although they exist, their existence is sort of contingent on causes and conditions. So it lacks substantiality and autonomy. Things don't exist sort of independently. So that's a higher level of understanding. Then to those disciples who could understand that, who already had integrated that with their understanding of the world, he taught a system which comes to be known as the Chittamatras, where it's understood that nothing exists in a substantial way. In other words, nothing truly exists. No phenomena truly exist. However, things do exist by means of their own nature. So this is the Chittamatra school, and it's very complex to understand how things do not truly exist, but they are established, or they exist by way of their own natures. So it's just another step up. Then to those with the best understanding, to lead them to the actual truth of emptiness, then the Buddha taught the highest view, which is the Madhyamaka. And in the Madhyamaka, one comes to understand that nothing whatsoever truly exists. Nothing whatsoever exists inherently or by way of its own nature. And so then, having given these teachings over the course of his career in this world, when the Buddha left, before he left, he said, well, there will be people who follow, who understand these things, and will be able to help you and help future generations to understand them. And so he prophesied the coming of Nagarjuna. And Nagarjuna was prophesied as the one who was the holder of the highest view, that is the Madhyamaka, and who could explain all these teachings and put them into a context. And so then we have sort of a graduated path. You have to understand one before you can understand the other. And based on the lower level of insight, you get to the higher level of insight, eventually to the ultimate teaching of the Buddha, of the lack of true existence of anything. So we can see down through history, down to the present time, how different teachers have taken one or another of the Buddha's teaching, and to them this was the highest teaching, when in fact it was just the highest one that they could understand. And so we do need someone to help us sort all this out. So if we follow Nagarjuna, then we will never go astray, because he was the holder of the highest view and the one who could explain how all of the other views fit together to lead up to that highest view, but none of the others were the highest view. None of the others would bring you to that highest sort of realization that was necessary to attain full liberation. And so then one of his successors centuries later was the great teacher Chandrakirti. So Chandrakirti took up in a future time, or long after Nagarjuna, to again sort out these things and show the faults in the other views, like the Vaibhashika and the Sautrantika and the Chittamantra, and show the superiority of the Madhyamaka, which is the only one which will finally free you from that illusion of the true existence of anything, and thus liberate you from the samsara. And then we have other great teachers that come after that, centuries after Chandrakirti, such as Atisha, who brought these teachings of the Madhyamaka to Tibet. And then, of course, we have Tsongkhapa, who takes the teachings of Nagarjuna and Chandrakirti and Atisha and puts them into a system of graduated levels of realization and practices that bring you step by step from the naive realism to the state of actually realizing profound emptiness.
Want to stay or
Yes.
stay and finish, or we take a break?
Yes.
Oh,
Robert, does Geshe Lharam want to continue, or should we take a short break?
da karma kashe gun sengina.
Wo re da ta, kamang ka ki ni so joro ji chai thun. Te lo ji.
Karma datso.
La kama ni kama jonga de shagur ta kudul chai thun de paru kama jo ja na sin lo ji.
Karma chonga.
Ni kama jonga jagur.
Okay. Okay, so we take a break now for 10-15 minutes.
Shi dan de sun ta.
Jigsaw.
Ya. Ta ngomol lu ji jinna ji nani sa. Lu ji jinna ji na ji nani. Chu chen bi. Tu ni kang ke to shen na. Te yin shi bi lu ten jin. Chun den ba ji ba yi. Lu lo man da da yin sa. Te ji bi me nga ki chun den ba thong jo sa. Chu chen bi. Tu ni kang ke to shen na, tu ni kang ji to gre sa na. Te yin shi bi lu ten bi. Chun den ba ji ba yi. Chine Nebaji can get Ludu Loma, Dadasle, Gubuldu Loma, Open the heart of it. Did you jib Manga, tell him how jib Mangaki? Chine never told Joe Sadney, tell the again, she never told this one. Then Ludu Loma Dadase. Ludu Loma Dadase and Open the heart of Ludu Long would you go the Ain. In a Gashina, Tana. Shamatha that said, laying at home. The art of the Mulu Perule to see Lungu Sarkandagana. That the last Sunsan do there, Lulu Haman the Rachi, the Ryansa. She never zip a Lulu Haman the Ryansa. Diligib Mangaki, she never told Jorose. The Taramachita, that's no batara. So when the art about should teaching is. So when the art about should cover is one. Pure tea, Gino. This and Rapi, Haro Naji. To tell you so, Kiri will have a model Juanali. Toma will have a Rara Gompa Tenjuto, Neba Mabo Yajam. The yellow logo that have a tissue, Hasu Snoopy. Chini, Dzindu Mabo, Gompa, Manaba. Ziji, Chuba Shuba Mais. Jangas Noka Biton. Tao Tadu Chi, teaches a combat to them. Jason was a thousand teachers a combat to this one. Tao Tadu teaches a combat to the Taiko on the Virgin Peshila, too much in him. Virgil Homan, Hamag, keep us in a 2 machine. Pay to Hope Luranta to send me this wood. GG Pessin 7. Such a other pattern to the Hope Louis Johnson Sugar. And to send me to one, there is in Jiggy in the Madame. Really, I thought on the teachers of the Campuchana. So, the other pattern pig man was a judgment to the tool to one. Metavas GG Pessin Zebana, pay to George Ibana. So, don't see the knee, she was started. That you would have heard. Pig to look at her subject to say. Nakaji say you're all for Nakaji say. To say, Neji shoot or that, Major Jala Mandus and cover this one. To say, Lady Doji day, she Nakaji Jeremy Shigal, that Nimak that Judge said that Jeremy Shigat, they all do Nimam was somebody. They could love her to say, Neji shoot or some. Madame by cover this one. To say, Neji shouldn't it. That to say, Neji shouldn't it. The Tayuko Chadolashim. So that Nakaji is singing the go channel the Shizigur. And channel the Shizigur on the channel the Tayuko Chadolashim. Kanakarina Chabli, I should not be Shule, and you do it in my Shibat and awesome. And the channel the Shunelia, Shulem, and you do sing it, there is no two, there is sudden. Shima Shibate now at the number is one at 10 Tashudo. Channel the Sundus, they want in Snarky Bishatana to each child. They want the day man I at the song of Bishatagina to each child, John to each child. These are two massive. These are two massive, but they love my debating. Lamadan, Emila saw that Rakitai Lamadan, didn't have Emila saw Sundi Rodpov. So, Andy, that's Sundi. The sergeant should only join you on Sergeant G, Medipi Chassis. Jerry Wichibi, Mina, Joan Alice. Then it Mina John, Cookie Social Towers, Lamina John Bruce, Juju, Chitty Zuzani. Children language she's variation, Jeremy Chilatin, language she's variation. Tail had that young jumping away, Mina John Ola, Chitty Zibi. She's a language she's Jeremy says she's your. Now she says she's the layer. Tan not a loon should be, Nahala, the knee, she's your chip. Rangasan, a loon Sabashi tea touching it. Nigel Hamale, she's the Aritano. Gubina, you hear a shower, Gun the Gubina, is Shiba Shani, she's very touchy your reason. That once you go to Jupiter, not some Migi Pa, Zoo down, once you go to the better making 200. Making only she pa, Zoo down, not some better melt down, like he's soon your race one. Jerem Bushi, Shamatha Zini, Janata, Lato, Tiba, the Chumata. Jerem Bush like the Jamin, Chemana, he met a menage to him. And then Jamin, Lama Homa Tiba, Juan, Juan is one. You bring a young, he's with the last time I Tan Lucy to Yamaiba, met a Metiana to me, the Jamila Cardinal, 중앙에서 또 티바시던 중앙사 따이 간이 거를 들어와시고 따이 그 간이 그 들어와시고 아래서 나는 이거도 그냥 나타다 오는 것이 지나면 들어와시고 순례사 순례나 소비세 마귀 취쳐바는 순례나 하장 소비 있는 마귀 취 중앙에서 지선제 따이 도지 저 따이 도지 人到了，结束，人到了结束，现在个拉曼人到了结束，说的，我们马上来结束是嘛？给谁那么多的？他这一多就人到了结束说的，今天人到，现在个拉曼。第张是多巴跟没事有啥？第张多巴跟是多嘛是没事没事。你他妈电视机呢？就是说呢，是那 KP 用了电的，什么对亲戚马路吧多吧，我对吧？你他妈电视机呢？ 내가 단다 셰바데 회셔라 버치네 진짜 쫀쫀 두지 나시나 키비 좀 몸불라 땐 솔로 소무 이따이 체제 몰로바 또바 못도 또 그래서 두지 두지 구조 소사리 좀 지지네 대 소무 이때 체제 몰로바 또 그래서네 이제 됐어 왔다 이제 야매가 됐어 뭐도 녀시에 기기 중이 주 다시 거두 마투나 다 되게 되게 돈인데 근데 이제 나와라 나쇼는 나와라 진이 파수니 쫀쫀 진이 이제니 키비 중라테니 소모타이 치지 몰로 받는 또 그래서네. 되는 이게는 제 소사리장 소지노. 제 소사리장 소사 디바장 제쇼선. 소소리장 소지 소지사. 뒤에서 서변 소지 장지 희지니. 디바 보데 빨다 지비 텐지 있다와 타투바 졸라 통사. 다트네치네 타말리아 공기 이제 자미가 소 너기겐 소사리장 지 사자지 서변 소지 장지 사자지는 히다 거리저든 우리 자가지 기바 서변 소지 장기 시지 왔다. 시지는 이제 자미가 신호 시지니 디바 벌레 빨다 지비 텐지 있다와 타투 디바 벌레 빨다섬. 부다 빨다싱이 된 소지장에 소지장 그런 체리 때 그런 수비 땡실이야 부다 빨다사리 그런 체리야 부다 빨다리 부다는 소지라와 빨다스 중앙이다 소지장에 리바 부다 빨다 지비 tinji 있다와 타투 투줄라 통데 대 소안하기 지는 tinji 있다 타투 투줄라 통화리 소리 꼰드라 파이지 페루 마부 히지빈 꼰드라네 자가 파비지 페르다 마부 히지비 히모부지아리 소리다 공기다 또 히지비 체 히지완드라 하수지야바 히지완드라레든 하수지바 가르치면서 해봐나 또 대봐주 제라마 잡비 제바나 또 대봐주세다 제르미지 하마 또 대 잡비 체리 또 대봐주데 제라마라 잡비지세 데달라 하추 마지 데달게 용라 테니 라제라 페바 자신부 주어 조송 데라 촌 나추 마지세 데달게 용라 테니 템바가 단 로하고 자신부 페바 주거 레스 송샤 누스 송 레스 말 제만 저 송사 때 송시다다 되니 데다 오미 따와 체제 몰로 또 봤나 네 오미 따와 체제 몰로 또 와리 송을 때바 지 주샤가나 지 자샤가 라
자
데다 하추 마지산 데다 용라 때니 라제네 페바 자체분 중 조송네 때 송샤 레송도 지 자샤가
라자
때바 지 주샤를 거치
라자
다 오미 따와 체제 몰로 또 봤네 얼마 맞지 로기 때 슈마 라제네 페바 자체분 중 조로 송사다 때바 지 송샤로
Okay, so we continue, and now the text gives us some background on the teaching to illustrate how others have come to realize its essential meaning. So here we have, as was noted, the Lord Buddha teaching. Then centuries later, he prophesied that centuries later Nagarjuna would come and clarify it, and after that, other great teachers, such as Chandrakirti. So that's what happened, and we can see that that there's really two types of sort of master-disciple relationships that that we're dealing with. One is the direct one, the ordinary type, where you go to a teacher and you receive the teachings, and if you really come to understand them, then you become like a disciple of that teacher. Well, that can be a sort of an ordinary or historical relationship, or it can be this extended type of relationship. So even though Nagarjuna comes centuries after the Buddha, and he's considered to be one of the supreme disciples of the Buddha, because he takes these essential teachings of the Buddha and elucidates them for the world in that time, centuries after the Buddha. And then the same relationship exists between Nagarjuna and the great Acharya Chandrakirti. Although they did not live in the same historical time, it was Chandrakirti that in that later time was able to take these profound teachings of Nagarjuna and explain them, and through explaining them, explain and elucidate the teachings of the Buddha on the highest view of reality, the Madhyamaka. And so we see this coming down through history. And so so there's others who take up this sort of golden chain of teachings and become the disciple, you could say, of Nagarjuna and Chandrakirti in later times, such as Shantideva and Atisha. And then in Tibet, it was Tsongkhapa, who continues as one of the primary teachers in history of the Madhyamaka view. So here, if we look a little more closely at how this developed with Geshe Tsongkhapa, we see how he, in his earlier years, made great effort to understand the high teachings of the Madhyamaka, going from the great masters from one to another in Tibet, and deepening his understanding. But still, he felt, after going to all of these famous teachers in Tibet, that there was still something missing. He wasn't really getting his questions answered in a way that satisfied and helped him to really understand it. So he figured that there is nothing for it except to make the great pilgrimage to India and go and see the great teachers there. He had heard of an Acharya Nagabodhi and Maitripa and others who were undoubtedly going to be able to clear up all of his doubts and his questions. But on the way, before he left Tibet, he came across the Lodrok Nam Gyaltsen. And this Lodrok Nam Gyaltsen discussed with Tsongkhapa his plan to go to India. And he said, there's many dangers and obstacles to doing that. I've got a better way for it. And the better way was through the tantric practice, which would enable Tsongkhapa to get his questions answered directly from the Yidam, from the deities, the great deities such as Vajrapani and Manjushri. So Tsongkhapa set about to do that, and indeed, with Namkha Gyaltsen's aid, he was able to get into contact with Vajrapani and ask him questions and clear up some of his doubts. And he took that dialogue with Vajrapani, and he wrote a text on the something called the Supreme Ambrosia Mala. And then he goes and he studies more, meditates, but finds that he still has not attained that view. He really has more questions. And so he asked his teachers, how can he get into contact with Manjushri? Only Manjushri, who embodies the ultimate wisdom of all the Buddhas, only he could satisfy him. That was what he thought. And they encouraged him and said, well, you have to prepare yourself. You can't just walk in on Manjushri. You have to prepare yourself. And you do that through building up your accumulations of merit wisdom and doing other purifications and gaining skill and strength in your meditative practice. And so Tsongkhapa worked on that, building up his merit, all sorts of things, purifications, meditations. So finally there came the time where he was able to contact Manjushri. Now, the text mentions here that there are three types of ways in which you can go about contacting the Yidam, the deities such as Manjushri. One is through work with the what's called the subtle winds and channels within your body, the tantric practice of the winds and channels. And when you do that, then the deity, you can become in touch with a clear vision of the deity when the subtle winds enter the proper channels. Then you will be able to have a clear vision of the deity. Then another way to contact the deity is through a meditation where the deity will appear in your, what's called in your mental consciousness. You know, you have the six types of consciousness, the visual and the auditory and the tactile and the gustatory and olfactory and like that. And this is the mental consciousness. And that can be experienced in your profound meditations. You can meet with the deity. Then the third type is where, through your extensive preparations and your building up of your merit and your wisdom and your purifications, you can actually meet face to face with the deity, the great bodhisattva, and so forth, and that is to say, the tantric deity. And then you're sitting on the seat right in front of the deity himself and talking back and forth, just like you do to like your teacher. And so this is what Tsongkhapa strived for, and this is what he was able finally to attain, this sort of intimate contact with Manjushri, wherein he was able to put all of his questions to Manjushri and get direct answers. And what he would do is he would go meet with Manjushri, ask him questions, get the answers. But with those answers, then he had to do something with the answers. So he went to here, usually to his teacher, Jetsun Rendawa. Rendawa was the great Sakya teacher of that age, and Tsongkhapa's guru. And so, working on the answers given by Manjushri with Rendawa, Tsongkhapa was able to get more and more insight into them. But of course, these were the most profound of all the teaching that he was getting from Manjushri, not easy to understand even by the great Tsongkhapa. So he expressed his sort of frustration there to Manjushri. And Manjushri said, "You have not prepared yourself. You've made a mistake. You haven't prepared yourself enough to understand what I'm saying. Now, to prepare yourself, you have to go back to the sutras and the shastras. You have to really, really study those until you find point by point the meaning of everything I've taught you." And this is why the Lord Buddha spent so much time teaching in all the sutras and all the shastras that come after him, to answer these types of questions. But you have to study them. And so this is what Tsongkhapa did. He went back to the classics of the Buddhist canon, studying them verse after verse, and finding a clear understanding of the essential meaning of everything which Manjushri had taught him about the ultimate view, or the highest view. So then he, continuing in this way, because he had at this point accumulated so much merit and wisdom, then he had various sort of contacts or visions of the great teachers like Buddha Palita and the great teachers throughout Buddhist history who had taught Prasangika Madhyamaka, the highest. The Madhyamaka has several divisions, and the highest is called the Prasangika. It was taught by Buddha Palita, or actually it was taught by the Buddha himself and Nagarjuna and the others. Buddha Palita has sort of systematized it. And so at this point in his life, Tsongkhapa was able to meet with all of these different historical teachers and ask them about their views and the things that they had said. Now, up until then, he had been able to have those visions, but he had sort of passed over them because he wanted to just go to Nagarjuna and Janbakirti and so forth, and then Manjushri and Vajrapani. And so at this point, he really spent some time with all of those teachers because he understood how each one of them was teaching a different way in which you can approach the full understanding of the Buddha's teaching on the nature of reality, in order to fully realize emptiness and to be able to effectively teach it to anyone, to people of all different levels of understanding and all different backgrounds and dispositions. So he continued with that, and in this way, Tsongkhapa was able to really get a vividly clear, pure understanding of the teachings of the Madhyamaka and of the Buddha's teachings of the highest view, the Madhyamaka. And this was the point at which, when finally it all came together, and he had this full dynamic understanding of it without any obscurations. Then his faith in the Buddha at that point was limitless, without any bounds, and he wrote his famous verse of praising the praise of the dependent arising, the teaching of the Buddha, which liberates all beings. So he wrote that, and then continued with his teaching career at this point, with this full, and not just the full understanding of the emptiness, but the full understanding of all of the different ways to lead beings to gain that realization. Oh, that's it.
다 그런도 고신다고 있는 로리스 다 되셨기.
Okay, so we've run out of time, so we'll have to quit here and take it up again next week.
Thank you, Robert.